it was grand in the perfect way. You felt like it was such an event, such a moment, and they did such a good job.
Howdy Meowers, welcome back to the BlushCat podcast. My name is Harvi with an I, and today we are reviewing Kpop GAYO Festivals from the end of 2025.
Okay. Yes. I'm sorry. Yes, I know that, and I always start with yes, as if I didn't already know what we were doing, but I'm caught up on your name. Harvi, where's the I?
At the end, Harvi.
Oh, okay. I was trying to think like EIIE. Like I was for some reason thinking an E needed to be involved. And I was confused. Harvi. Okay. Welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're talking about the GAYOs, and like we're talking about them in a way that's the best we could think of.
Yeah. And we are not covering all of the performances that happened at every single GAYO. That's just not possible. Instead, I mean, I don't know what you ended up doing, but for the most part, I'm pretty sure we are only looking at the ones that are either actually of interest to us or of relevance to us. For the most part, probably. So overall, regardless of what we say, we do like the groups that we're talking about the performances of.
Yeah, I'd say that my list consists of ones that are notable. So, like,
yeah,
it's a group that I think did a good enough job for me to take note of it.
Yes,
If
exactly.
the performance was irrelevant or bad, I'm not talking about it.
Yeah. So, we are going to be referencing performances from any one of the KBS GAYO Daechukjae, the SBS GAYO Daejeon, or the MBC GAYO Daejeon. And the SBS one is taking place, like it takes place every year on Christmas Day, and the MBC one takes place on New Year's Eve, just for some background. And so yeah, we are going to review in alphabetical order today, but there will be a miscellaneous section at the end if we still have some time, which is kind of like honorable mentions. And we might be making some general comments about the shows at the end as well. But it will probably, like technical stuff, will probably come up in the middle of our comments about these performances.
Yeah, and there are 3 of these major festival things that we're going to be discussing, and some of them are holiday adjacent, I guess you'd say. And so I do take that into consideration, and I also take into consideration if people were at more than one, kind of like what they did at one versus at the other. But I know that there are also a lot of big award shows and some other things, apparently. Like when I was looking for performances, it seemed like there was another thing that people just did in Japan.
Yeah.
That was kind of happening around the same time. So like there was a lot of like probably special stages that groups had prepared for all these different events. So I understand that. Like I might at some points be like, I don't really understand why they did this song, or like I wish they had done this song. Maybe they did it at one of those other things.
Yeah.
Like, but we're just talking about these 3 main GAYOs, so that's kind of where we're going to be comparing things and stuff.
Yeah. So you're either going to find this episode interesting and you're going to just like, whether you like what we have to say or you don't, you can hopefully just enjoy listening, or you just don't need to listen to this episode. So, because that's what we're doing today. So we're going to start with AHOF, and they were actually at 2 of the GAYOs. They were at the KBS and the SBS. So I will just share what I thought about the KBS performance. They did Pinocchio at both festivals. And honestly, actually, I didn't even really think about that until now. I mean, like, I did in the moment. I was like, oh, they're doing Pinocchio again. But I didn't think too much about the fact that, oh, they could have done Rendezvous, but they just didn't. But either way, I like the song, so I couldn't be too upset with whatever they did. And the KBS performance was totally a concept for me. Obviously, I loved that they did something with strings and that their outfits had that as well. I do think that they definitely could have made it more Pinocchio, though. It was actually a bit, like, generic in a way. Like, other groups can work in a cloth string moment, but not every group can work in Pinocchio, you know what I mean?
True.
So, like, I liked it, but at the same time, I wouldn't have minded if they wanted to go even further with that concept. I feel like the way AHOF was performing made it seem like it was a bigger event, but the way the performance was presented didn't do it justice. You know what I'm saying?
I guess a little bit.
So, like, I don't really have much else to say on that specific one.
Okay. Yeah, I actually liked the concept of the strings for the puppets, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I think that was a good utilization of that sort of concept. But I did not like the, like, heavy, intense sort of rock vibe that they were starting with, like, that they were jumping into. And I get if they were, like, transitioning, you know, so it's like it wouldn't have made sense to change the energy back down to, like, the more solemnness of the beginning of Pinocchio. But I thought it was kind of like it made the song less impactful to me.
That's true.
To start with that sort of start. But I do think that their energy and their vocals were really, really, like, delivering as a, you know, like, they didn't seem like a newbie group. They didn't seem like they should be considered in the rookie category in the way that they were performing. And that's a really, really good thing, especially at these shows, because these shows are filled with rookie groups nowadays. Like this year specifically. And so to have rookie groups that seem like they're super present and they're super invested is really nice.
Absolutely. Yes, definitely. That's actually something I had written down for their SBS performance. I think, like, you know, they are rookies, and I felt like they were, in the sense that they were trying to prove themselves, but I didn't feel like they were rookies at all in the way that they actually did deliver a solid and memorable performance. And so, yeah, to talk about the GAYO Daejeon performance, this was one of my favorites from all of the shows we watched.
Oh, wow.
I just thought it was really good. They were pulling out all the stops to prove themselves in the short time frame that they were given, and they absolutely nailed it. I just thought it was really memorable. It was a little bit jarring to not have that immediate transition to Joowon's part, but wow, like, I thought the dance break was so cool and everybody did so good. I wish that they had better angles of it. Like, I feel like the camera work wasn't so great, but, you know, par for the course at these types of things, which we'll probably keep talking about. But the Han JL Dancing with the Stars moment was super iconic. I never thought I'd see that, especially during Pinocchio by AHOF, but, you know, why not? And I felt like everybody was really pulling their weight. They had so much presence and charisma. I thought it had emotional weight. Like, it made me feel something. It made me feel like I was watching Pentagon on Road to Kingdom, if I'm being real. And their outfits, I liked the jackets, but you had mentioned the jeans being a choice, and I agree with that. But the jackets I liked because they made me think of Gravity Love or Die.
Okay.
And so I thought that was good. The vocals were good as well. And I thought that their teamwork really showed. Obviously, they were doing so many like dance parts and like, moments together. But they just had really good synergy that was coming through, especially when I compare it to the other rookie performances that we saw from all of the GAYOs.
Yeah. I think that the intro being, the more regular way that the song starts here was much better. Like it really built to what I feel
But it
like
wasn't. They started with Schweibo's part, like at the verse. They didn't do the whole song, and they didn't start it at the beginning.
But was it slow like the start?
Yeah, it was slower. Like it wasn't, like an intense moment.
Yeah. I just mean that like I feel like they built the right sentiment for the song by having it start with that slower way. And honestly, like is it too like spicy for me to say like I can't believe how much Schweibo has improved since Boys Planet?
I felt that too, for sure, especially in in this specific stage.
Yeah.
I was getting that.
Like I was like, wow, I just remember on Boys Planet, like we would not have seen this, I don't think.
Yeah.
It was like it's so different. So good for Schweibo. But yeah, so I liked the intro that they did here much better. I think it set the tone and the mood of what I expect Pinocchio to be much better. And then the dance break was extremely unexpected, especially because they just kind of cut off the spelling. But yeah, no, they absolutely delivered. And what a bold choice for them to do another like risky sort of like I don't know, it's not like a lift, like JL and somebody else, I don't know if it was Han then too, at some other performance that they did, they tried to do like a move.
Oh yeah.
And I think it didn't really work out because it was like too slippery or something. And so they were like, oh, we kind of fumbled that. So the fact that they tried again to do something like that on a really important stage, I appreciate that. I respect that. And they pulled it off flawlessly, like great job. And what you're saying about them being like, what did you say? Not cohesive, but their teamwork or something?
Yeah, good synergy.
Yes, the good synergy. It's really coming through because like they're rookies, but a lot of the people do have previous experience. So I would expect them to be doing a great job because I'm like, oh yeah, I know that you have done stuff before and you have done stuff before. You're not like fresh out of trainee status.
Right.
But still, they are kind of more newly put as a group together and everything. And some of these people have been a group, like some people who are not rookies and have been a group for years are not even trying anything interesting. And they're not even pulling off their regular stuff.
Yeah.
So like this is just like a win-win-win for them. They did such a good job. And you brought up the other rookies, and like some of the other rookies were trying things, but like it kind of wasn't really the right thing to try, I feel like. It was like kind of pointless or something. Like it's like, well, that's cool that you tried to make something out of the performance, but like why? It didn't really come together.
As I was watching this AHOF one again, I was just thinking like, I'm so relieved that this is their concept and this is the kind of thing that they are doing at these shows, because it just actually feels significant. It feels like there's a reason to be doing it, and it's like the quality is there.
Yeah. So I think they made really good decisions. Yeah, the outfits for me are a little like it's a mixed bag. I like some of the jackets. Some of them have a little too much Western fringe on them. And the jeans, it's like it could work, but I don't know. And then lastly, can can I just talk about Han for a second?
Yes. Yeah.
Because like I'm saying, I know that some of these people have previous experience. I would already expect them to be delivering, and they absolutely did. But Han, did he not kind of just come out of nowhere? And like he's delivering on this level, like this caliber?
I think he was a trainee for a long time, but like I don't think he did anything prior to debuting. Like I don't think,
yeah. I mean, I can't stress that enough. Like the other people that I see in that group that I'm like, because like they're all doing a fantastic job, but then there are some that I'm like, wow, like they really like, they already seem like such a professional at this.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, I know that they kind of are a professional already.
Yeah.
But Han, I didn't think he really had that going for him, but he definitely already seems like a professional. I'm like,
yeah,
how are you going on to these giant stages like this and doing these things? Like, it's crazy.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I also actually wanted to take a moment to just shout out Jungwoo, in my true fashion, because I feel like he had like a lot of important parts, but he pulled them off. He pulled them off well. So just wanted to shout him out.
Yeah. I don't think anyone was like not pulling their weight.
Yeah, same. No, like just kind of like shout everybody out. Steven's parts in the songs are always so impactful, so I always am just like, I really connect. I really like get into it, especially at those parts. And Daisuke, like, come on.
Oh my god, the Christmas cheer, and it wasn't even Christmas.
Yeah, and like the vocals, like
yeah.
He's coming up like right up on top, like good job.
Yeah.
Good job, AHOF.
Yeah. I'm telling you, in a couple years, Daisuke is going to be, like, everybody's going to be like, where in the world did this kid come from? Because it's going to, well, not like I say kid, but like, I'm saying like in a couple years, he's not going to be like, oh, the little kid in the group. And everyone's going to be like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
I mean, people are probably already like that.
Yeah.
But maybe you get what I'm saying.
Okay. So we are going to continue right along to ATEEZ. And they were at the SBS and NBC festivals. So, what do you think about either?
Okay, well, it's going out of order, but I'll talk about their NBC one first because I think that one I have less to say about. Okay. I just would say that they're the real performance. Kind of getting the intro theme song set the tone for the whole night instance is pretty iconic for them, and they definitely built the energy. It was honestly getting a little much for me by the end of it, because it's like, wow, like there's so much going on, and it's not a song that I know of from ATEEZ, so I don't have that like previous knowledge to go off of. But, like, I really do think that they were, like, it was a really good group to give that, I guess burden isn't exactly the right word to use. But, like, they had that as their, like, it was their job to do that. And I think that,
like responsibility.
Yeah. Responsibility. That's maybe a good word. That responsibility was given to a good group, I'd say,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with that. I agree. It was a good choice, and I'm glad that they let them do that.
Yeah.
And it's not even like, oh, that's it for the night from you guys. Like they just let them have that moment.
Yeah. So did you have anything else about that NBC one that you wanted to say?
I wasn't really familiar with the two songs that they did after Lemon Drop, so I kind of wished they had spent a little bit longer on Lemon Drop. And obviously, like, everybody can probably already guess that I didn't really like the concept in general for this festival from ATEEZ, but surprisingly near the end of Ariba, I was starting to vibe with it because everybody was dancing.
She's not beating the
and stuff, and they were, performing with the glasses raised, and it felt like it was turning more into a movie or like, a musical of sorts. And so I was kind of getting pulled in a little bit more at that part.
I was thinking, like, I was wondering the whole time what songs they would pick, because I didn't think that Lemon Drop was fitting for the season at all. But I was like, that is the song, right? So like, would they not just do Lemon Drop? And so it makes sense that they didn't do it very much, but also I would have loved to hear more of it. But also maybe they did it like at the summer GAYO or something, and so they didn't want to do it again. I don't know, because it's definitely summery, so maybe they were there and they did it then. I don't know.
Okay, but the SBS one.
Yeah, the SBS one, that the main sort of featured moment is Wonderland. Completely unexpected for them to be bringing back this old song. I thought, well, first of all, I'd like to say that I loved the embroidery on their outfits. Beautiful, lovely work.
I will say that I thought their outfits were good, and I thought that the silver makeup too was a really nice detail. I liked that.
Yeah. Overall, like, if you disregard the kind of Christmassy festiveness of the outfits, it wasn't a very Christmassy performance. And it was at the Christmas GAYO, but it was a little bit scary. Especially towards the end, it was getting scarier. But it was grand in the perfect way, because it was so grand. You felt like it was such an event, such a moment, and they did such a good job. But it didn't have that like muddled feeling when it's like things are grand and they start to get messy and it starts to be too noisy and there's too much going on and there's intricate details that you're missing. It didn't feel like that at all. It was grand in the perfect way, and they had good audio.
Yes, okay, absolutely. I don't know how they knew exactly what I wanted, but they literally delivered everything here. I'm so happy that they did Wonderland. I'm so glad that they had such a strong concept for this stage, and it literally felt, once again, like a musical, but also like a cinematic production. And literally, like, Son's vocals, they were so musical here, but also he was like growling, and I was like, what on earth is happening? But okay, the energy is just off the charts. And yeah, like always with ATEEZ, the strong energy, the strong vocals. This performance was definitely a highlight of the night, and it's one of my favorites overall from the ones that we are reviewing today.
Yeah, definitely one of my favorites as well. And ATEEZ, they have a little bit of an unfair advantage in the sense that their vibe works so well for these sorts of things. But every time I feel like it's so good from ATEEZ.
Yeah. I don't really think that they deserved to like be disrespected though in the way that they were by just having this performance kind of thrown in the middle of the show. Like, true. I think they deserve to have one of the senior spots at the end, even just in terms of the scale and the quality.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Okay, so who would you like to move to next? Do you have anything else in the realm of A's, or do you have anything in the B's?
I've got an early B.
Okay, early B.
Yeah, this one's maybe gonna be a little random. I don't even think it's necessarily K-pop, but it was at the GAYO.
Okay.
I would like to talk briefly about Beatpella House.
Oh, okay.
Because they came out here at the MBC GAYO early on, like, I think maybe right after the intro performance or something, to do a medley, which was basically an a cappella / beatboxing rendition of sections of songs of a whole bunch of the people that were going to be performing at this GAYO. So they did like a little bit of ITZY, they did some PLAVE, they did some BOYNEXTDOOR, they did, they did all these groups, and it was all blended together. And I just thought it was pretty impressive. And, well, I mean, obviously it was really impressive, but it was pretty intriguing. Like,
Yeah.
I was like, oh, wow. Oh, they're going to that one next. Oh, wow. That sounds exactly like it. And like when they seamlessly transitioned from, I don't even remember what it was anymore, but from whatever it was straight into NCT Wish Pop Pop, I was like, whoa, like we're now in this song. Like, how did that happen?
Yeah.
So I thought that was an interesting addition.
Yeah, totally. I had them in the miscellaneous section just because I'm not familiar with them at all, like aside from this. But yeah, I thought it was definitely worth it to have them there.
Yes.
It wasn't like, oh, what is this? Like, come on. No, like it was cool. I would like be curious to hear more from them. And yeah, just the seamlessness of it all was very impressive.
Yeah, like I think that they did a good like advertising for themselves. You know, if it was like, oh, we're getting invited to this thing that maybe we wouldn't have expected to be invited to, but like let's show these people what we can do. Like I think they did a really good job at that.
Okay, but now I'm assuming you also have Boy Next Door.
Yes.
Okay, I don't have like a lot of specific stuff to say, so I'll just share my thoughts. They were at the SBS GAYO and the NBC GAYO, but I really just have the comment about the SBS Christmas one because finally I had been waiting for them to perform 1, 2, 3, 7, 8, and they did, and I was not disappointed. It's actually one of my favorites probably just because the vibes were so good and the tap dance was such a nice addition. I really enjoyed it even if it wasn't real.
Yeah. Something that has happened with watching these GAYOs and then going back and watching some of the performances a second time is that the first time that I went through watching everything, I was expecting a lot more things to be bigger and more involved.
Yeah,
kind of
me
like
too.
ATEEZ's performance. Especially with Boy Next Door, I was expecting something bigger because they didn't really have like any set pieces or anything.
Yeah.
And so that kind of threw me off, and it made me think a lot of the performances the first time I watched them. I was like, yeah, I mean, that was cool and interesting or good what they did, but why wasn't it bigger? Like I was expecting bigger. But then once I've watched all of them and I realized that like most everyone didn't have something bigger, it helped, you know, I got the perspective of the whole thing a little bit more. And so it's fine that it wasn't any bigger, I guess. And it was so fitting. Starting with If I Say I Love You and then going into 1, 2, 3, 7, 8, like it was so fitting for the Christmas GAYO. It was joy filled, you know, it was Christmassy. They had beautiful snowflake confetti. So I really enjoyed it. I think that, yeah, like the faux quote unquote tap was really cool and fun to add. Obviously, they did such a good job like they always do with live performances. And I was a little surprised that they didn't perform Hollywood Action at the New Year's GAYO.
Same, I was just gonna say that.
Yeah, but I think that their Christmas GAYO, like they picked the perfect songs. Like 1, 2, 3, 7, 8 is so perfect for a Christmas themed thing, I feel like. Even though it's not like winter, you know, it's like it's the right genre, I feel like. You know, it's like Christmas music.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know why they didn't do Hollywood Action or I Feel Good at the New Year's one. Because those both seem like they could have done a really big, like I would have loved to see something like so huge for Hollywood Action. They were kind of like, you know, doing that a little bit at the award show stages.
Yeah.
But still, I was hoping I'd get to see it more.
Yeah, like they really could have done like a party.
Yeah.
More of a party energy. But their performance at the NBC one was good as well. But it just also seemed very like wintry to me rather than like New Year's time.
Yeah. But they always do a good job. And I'm like so glad that they go because I know that I will probably enjoy their performance because they're good at performing.
Yes.
Okay, now how about Close Your Eyes?
Yeah.
Okay. So I think they were unfortunately only at one of these festivals, the KBS one. and they performed SOB, but they also had a collab with AHOF. So I guess I'll talk about that first because we already talked about AHOF. So they had some members from Close Your Eyes and some members from AHOF do BTS Fire. And it's always a gamble covering BTS. But honestly, I think it was not too bad. Like, I think it was pretty good. And the collab in general, I thought worked extremely well. Like, I hope that AHOF and Close Your Eyes keep collabing in the future because it's so fun. And I like both groups. And I like to watch the behind content from both groups. And so when I watched the Close Your Eyes behind for this performance, it was fun to see how they were featuring both Close Your Eyes and AHOF so much. Like, it was heavily focused on both groups because they were both part of the collab, and so it's so fair like that. And like Majin Xiang covering RM was just so perfect, and I was just like not expecting that, but like it clearly works so well. And I watched it a second time, and I was like, I rewound that part because I forgot for a second that like I was hearing AHOF and Close Your Eyes vocals instead of BTS, because I literally thought that JL, like, he sounded exactly like Jimin, and I wasn't even thinking about the fact that everybody says that. Like, I know everybody says that about JL and like whenever they cover BTS or something, but I thought it so much in this one specific instance, and I hadn't really thought that strongly before. But it just, like, it was a collab that made sense to me, but unfortunately the camera work was absolutely terrible, and that's like the only thing that made it evident that it was two separate groups, not just one group performing, because I felt like the camera was like literally disregarding a lot of people, and yeah, that was the unfortunate thing about it.
Yeah, I thought that, like, I'm sure that their execution was really great, but like the presentation of it to me, I felt like was kind of one of those muddled sort of situations. Like, I was kind of like, I didn't really get to see things very well and stuff.
Yeah,
so.
It was a little chaotic.
Yeah.
But okay, Close Your Eyes, their actual like performance was SOB, and I thought that they did a good job. I like that there was a concept and a vision. They had a lot of energy as usual, but the same thing I said about AHOF applies here, and actually with a lot of the GAYO performances in general. I feel like Close Your Eyes were bringing the right level of energy, but the way that the show and the stage was set up and the camera work and the audio, it didn't allow them to fully showcase their creativity and show their skills. So, like, I thought they did good, but it could have been showcased better.
Yeah. Like, I thought it was a solid performance in terms of like their performance of it, but yeah, it definitely could have been elevated in ways outside of their control.
Yes. Okay, well, now let's talk about ITZY, and you can go ahead and share your thoughts.
Okay, so their first one that I'm going to talk about, the one at the Christmas GAYO, it was a good job on ITZY's part, but like the camera kept zooming out so much that like I feel like it was not helpful for what they were presenting at all. Like, tunnel vision to me is got a lot of intricate and minute nuances to it that need to be featured, and they were like literally like, goodbye, like, you know, suck the camera into a black hole because we're just flying away, and not just zoomed out, but like southeast camera angle, you know, like behind them, like an angle that's like behind at an angle. It was so frustrating. I'm like, were they using this angle for other groups? Because I feel like all I'm getting is that I'm like looking over ITZY's shoulder. And like, why is that what we need right now? Like literally the song is called Tunnel Vision. Just show me exactly them as if I'm getting tunnel vision, okay? Because that's what I need to be seeing for this. So I found that frustrating, but like I think that ITZY was delivering, but like I just don't know why the whole situation was set up in that way, that it was going to be filmed like that.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Also, can I say Chaeyoung's dance cover of Espresso? I don't know how similar that is to the way that the song regularly sounds. It sounds like they Christmasified it with like jingle bells or something, maybe. Well, that's what I'm saying, is I don't know how the normal song sounds. But it sounded like a Christmassy song. So maybe they added stuff to it. I don't know. But in terms of the dance cover that she did, I felt like that was the perfect way to do a dance cover for one of these stages. Like that was a dance cover done right. I could clearly see who was supposed to be being featured versus, you know, backup dancers.
Yeah.
I could clearly see all the movements she was doing. It was so fun. She seemed so like energized.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just think it worked really well. So that was really nice, because a lot of the times the dance covers I really couldn't care less about, because it's a lot of movements that I feel like get washed out. The movements are too small. The stage is too grand. But I think it was perfect, and like the backup dancers added the perfect amount of like, they made it feel grand and they made it look really cool, but she still seemed like the feature piece. So I wanted to say that that was really good.
Yeah. I usually I look forward to seeing dance performances, dance collabs, dance covers at these shows. But lately, I feel like I've just been so disappointed with them. I feel like it's not super exciting. The choreography or like general presentation of everything kind of ends up being a little messy or irrelevant, and I usually don't like the songs that they're dancing to. But this I actually thought was really good. Like I'll go back and watch it again. Just in the GAYO episode we did when we were creating our ideal festivals, I literally had just talked about, I don't know why idols are always covering Western pop songs when they do these special year-end stages, but this totally worked. And I like how she wasn't pretending that she was like singing or something too. It was clearly just like, you know, I want to do a dance performance, and she did a dance. Like she wasn't even mic'd up. Yeah. And so I respect that. She totally owned the stage.
Absolutely.
But I do want to actually talk about like the ITZY Christmas performance. I basically, like, you know, I agree with what you were saying about the camera for sure. Like the choreography is pretty cool and it has such a strong start, but I feel like I could barely even like see any of the cool moments in it because of the camera. But their styling, even though it wasn't really very Christmassy at all, they had one of my favorite stylings across all the shows. Like,
wow,
both in this Christmas one and in the New Year one, actually. I just thought it was really nice. I thought it was unique in terms of aesthetic. You know, the Raven Candle aesthetic going strong. The color was unique. I thought it was unique seeing ITZY styled that way. And yeah, I just wanted to shout that out.
Yeah, I mean, the color to me, just being the color that it was and not having like a sparkle element or anything really, there was a little bit of a lack of contrast with maybe like the darkness of the whole like stage and everything. But I did like in general like the pieces and everything. Mm-hmm. Their styling for the NBC one though, I really liked as well.
Yes.
Like, yeah, like, you know, overall the pieces I liked for everything. It's just that I don't know if I would have picked that dark of a color with no like bright or light elements to it at all for that big of a stage for the other one. But yeah, so can I move on to the MBC one?
Yeah.
The MBC one is more what I expected in terms of focusing on the intricacies of the vibes for Tunnel Vision. So I appreciated that we did get to see a moment where they were doing more of that. I also really did like the dance break. I think that was nice. But for this one, I kind of feel like the music was getting a little loud and it was a little bit not balanced very well to be able to hear their live vocals.
Okay, I agree with that. I thought it was a great mix of elegance and coolness in terms of the styling and the way that they were using the stage and the way that, they were changing the choreography. But I don't really feel like it fit the songs that they used. Like I liked the arrangement, but also I'm like, I wouldn't envision this concept for these songs. So it felt a little forced to turn it into that. And overall at that show, I felt like the audio, like it seemed like a lot of the group members and stuff from different performances were having trouble, and they had the live band. I don't know if it was there for the whole time. It seemed like they kind of stopped being there like halfway through the show. But I thought it was cool that there was a live band for a lot of the performances, but it was so overpowering for a lot of them as well. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, how about we talk about IVE? IVE was at the SBS and the NBC festival, and the SBS one, I also really like the styling for this. I thought it was another one of the best styling moments across all of the festivals. Like, it was undeniably festive.
Definitely.
But it was very cute and pretty. They literally did the classic red and white that I talked about not really liking. But the thing is, it's not the colors, it's the style that I don't really like. And this styling is perfect. Like, it's not tacky, it's just pretty.
Yeah, and I think that even the slight color shift that they did, I think helped a lot. It was a bit of a deeper red rather than that, like, true red. It elevated it a little bit.
Yeah. And each member's individual look, it was so perfect for them. And the performance itself, I obviously thought it was good. And Yujin was extra smiley, so that was really fun to watch. And I thought that the jingly remix of Rebel Heart was just enough.
Yeah.
And I'll just say about the NBC one, because I don't really have a lot to say about that one, because honestly it was a little strange, but like, okay, sure, like, why not? I never expected that twist to the genre or overall mood of the songs. But I did want to point out that how with Gotcha, we were kind of hearkening back to the days of when people would do nothing but rock remixes at the New Year's festival. But that's another point. I really, really like how they did Gotcha and they did Flu. Like, they were doing B-sides that were never, like, used yet. And so I really like that.
Okay. Yes. I mean, I don't really care about the B-sides that much, but yes, that is cool. Like a cool aspect. Their Christmas one, it was really truly just like the classic option, Take our title track, give it a little bit of a Christmas twist, add some jingle bells and whatnot, wear a super Christmassy outfit, but they did such a good job at it. Like, it was such a strong classic Christmas option.
Yeah.
It didn't seem throwaway. And I loved how their outfits were just so fluffy and cute. And they were really, like, they seemed cheerful. They seemed like they wanted to spread the Christmas cheer with that performance. And that was nice. Their New Year's one, I think Gotcha had a really cool aura. So that was nice. RIIZE feature was very unexpected. Yeah, once again, I'd say the 3 pieces, Gotcha to RIIZE part to Rebel Heart again. I'm not sure how cohesive all that is. But like they did deliver with each part, I feel like.
Yeah.
And I was surprised that they didn't go into XOXZ instead.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, what they did a good job at it, so I can't be too upset.
Yeah. I also want to shout out Liz's solo at that one. She did a really nice job. I thought that the piano was really like a pretty piano, and it was a nice performance.
Yeah, very elegant.
I'd like to talk about KickFlip.
Of course, yes.
So they were at the SBS and the NBC, and
good for them. Yeah.
The Christmas one I thought had fun styling, and I liked it. I think that if my radar wasn't already on KickFlip, this performance would have been enough to at least make me recognize that they have good stage presence and there is some talent there that's happening. So it was enjoyable. And what?
I'm sorry. I got flashbacks of some of the groups that we're not talking about.
Oh.
That like I don't think anyone would even be able to know which one I'm thinking of, so please don't think it's like something that's like KickFlip adjacent or something. It's not. I was remembering that there were some groups that like really like did not deliver. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but the I've got to talk about their Lovable cover at the NBC festival. That was just so funny, the transition to it from like it was in the moment of the 2005 songs covers by all of the rookie groups, and like just going from the mood of the other 2 covers straight into this, and like the way the camera panned to that, it's probably gonna come up if we do a surreal K-pop moments part 2.
Yeah, that part was definitely surreal.
Yeah.
Like that section of the show, I was like, what is happening right now?
But they did a good job. It was very feel good.
No, they did do a good job with their performances, but they were a little bit more on the like closer to a stage performance vibe. So
okay, now I want to talk about NCT Dream, because they were at all 3 festivals, and we know that even if the songs aren't the best, like even if it's not the best era that we're in song-wise, they're gonna have a good performance. And so at the KBS one, Jano getting that VCR moment, I was like, let's go. Like I was just so surprised to see him finally getting something that he deserves. But the guns were really jarring and scary, so I did not like that. I didn't see the relevance. But the SBS Christmas one, I was like, my old reliable NCT Dream. You know, they did good, but that's to be expected. What I wasn't expecting, though, was for Jano to suddenly scale the fence and sit on top of it. That was a shock.
That was honestly kind of scary.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, how did you do that so fast?
Yeah. Yeah. Renjun screaming to the audience. Always a major performance boost. It comes out of nowhere, but like, come on, the energy just skyrockets at that. And you know, he did it again at the NBC festival, so it's a win. I just wish they'd stop forcing me to enjoy Beat It Up.
Yeah, like in the same sort of sense, or I guess opposite, I don't know, of me saying that ATEEZ kind of has like, you know, a perk, like they've got it easy because their songs are great for these shows. I'd say NCT Dream is like constantly getting nerfed at these things because they're so good at performing, but their title tracks that they're gonna perform, I'm always like, I don't really want to hear this song though. But they're so good at performing, so it's tough.
Yeah. Okay, well, now I believe it's time for, drumroll please, PLAVE. Correct? Am I correct in assuming that?
You would absolutely be correct.
Okay.
Miss Harvi.
Okay.
The best performance of them all.
Yes, honestly, that is completely a fact.
I hate to pick one, but
Yeah, it picks itself.
it does.
So, PLAVE was actually only at one of these 3 festivals, the NBC Festival, which is the New Year's Eve one, but they did Boo and they did Dash. But they didn't do the whole song for Boo. But regardless, it blew us away. So what are your deep thoughts?
Well, initially, I was just glad to see PLAVE. I was like, wow,
Yeah.
I'm so glad it's PLAVE next. And I don't know why they put them in rookie hour.
We needed PLAVE to save us though.
Yes. And so I was like, wow, thank God this is PLAVE coming up next. And so they started and it was Boo. And I was like, this is always so great. I love this. And I love to have another performance of Boo because there are barely any. And, the Heelys is fantastic. Everything's going great. But it's a little bit disappointing that they're just, kind of doing a performance of Boo and like there's not going to be something special going on or anything. But then,
Whoa.
they throw that VCR up there and I was like, oh, okay, we're transitioning or something. Bambi descending down from the heavens above. I'm like, how did he get here so fast? Is he really there? Is he doing this? Like, what is going on? It looks so real. Like, Eunho is clearly like cradling him right now. Like, how is this not really happening? So I don't know, maybe the Boo part was pre-recorded. Maybe, I've got no clue. Maybe he was dancing with a harness on. I can't figure it out, okay? Because the VCR thing is only like 5 seconds long.
Yeah.
So I don't know how it worked. But basically, if you could have ever thought of a perfect way to transition from the adorable cuteness of Boo into the like dystopian, war-torn nature of Dash, this is it.
Yeah.
Like, they did it.
Oh wow, it's so good.
Like a trend of this year, like these end of year things, it was through the award show performances that we watched as well. Tone shift was a big trend.
Definitely.
The tone shifts were always extreme and jarring, and so you would think it would be from going from Boo to Dash, but this tone shift was done perfectly. It was a perfect blending, a perfect transition. And then Dash, as amazing as always. The outfits, the scene, the energy. I love that with PLAVE, you're gonna get good camera angles and good audio every time because they're in charge of it.
Yeah.
And so, they have that perk. Like, you're always, you're not going to be upset about those aspects. So just incredible overall.
Phenomenal job. Since you recently mentioned the styling, I will say everybody's edgy rock sort of looks really something. Noah's was particularly iconic for me.
I really love the arm things that they keep giving him.
Oh, yeah. It was absolutely breathtakingly beautiful, fun, emotional, powerful, amazing, historical, iconic. Like, it was every good adjective in the book can always be applied to PLAVE, and hopefully that stays true. But you're saying like, oh, it's just a regular music show performance of Boo, but I liked the little detail changes with the effects that they had. Like, they had the cotton candy instead of the flower, and how there's a little heart in the electricity at Bambi's Volt part. Like, that was so cute. I was like, that's not normally a heart, right? And it's not. So that was so fun. But literally the Bambi Eunho Dash intro part was so beautiful, so impactful. Wow, so good. The instrumental changes also worked really well.
Yes.
Like, that's always a risk at these festivals. It's like, are they going to change the song so dramatically that I'm not even going to be able to recognize it? But I feel like that was really actually not an issue this year for anybody at all.
Yeah.
But the bridge for Dash was so good. It had a bit of a style savvy sound to it, if I'm being honest. But that's like a major bonus in my book, even if I don't really see like a connection between the two aesthetics. It was still working. And Yejune's dash moments, always iconic. And I've got to talk about the shattering after Hamon's kick. That was really cool.
So cool. Yeah, it just threw me a little bit towards the realm of regular performance, quote unquote, of Boo, when I was seeing them wearing like outfits that I'd already seen and everything. You know, I was like, oh, like they don't have, you know, it's like I was like they didn't even do the other color version of their outfits. So I was no, like I'm just saying that's what put me in that mindset of being like, oh, so it's just gonna be a Boo performance. But they had new outfits, just not for that one.
Okay, so yeah, thank you, PLAVE. Thank you. Now we're talking about RIIZE. Yeah. Is that who we've got next? Okay, cool. So RIIZE, I will just say, you know, the mics were on at, you know, like all the things we've seen from them recently. They have outstanding energy lately. So thank you, RIIZE. I thought at the Christmas festival, the dance intro was cool. Sohee main dancer, am I right? And also, like, big shout out to Eunseok. I'm really in my Eunseok era lately.
Lately, sure.
I just feel like he needs more recognition and credit. And I feel like RIIZE, I feel like they're still trying to prove themselves, which is sad. But to me, they're definitely doing it. They're definitely proving themselves. I think that they're one of the best groups these days that's getting invited to these things that is capable of actually putting on a good performance. And at the New Year festival, sticky like the styling, I totally won with that. I totally won. The vibes were there.
Yeah, I kind of feel like, not in terms of scale, but in terms of aesthetics, I kind of feel like they switched the New Year's and Christmas ones.
Yeah.
You know, like it kind of felt like the New Year's Eve one was more Christmassy and the Christmas one was more New Year's Eve-y. But
I'll agree.
but you know, I understand the scale of the one for the Christmas festival made sense for that venue and everything. I think that the intro dance thing, it was a mixture for me of like dance moments that did seem grand enough that it was like, you know, not too muddled, and then there were a few parts that I was like, yeah, no, this is getting in that realm for me of like, I can't really tell what small gestures you're doing. But definitely did have good energy. It was mainly good audio. I think there was one or two parts where I was like, oh, I can't really hear anymore for some weird reason. The camera just kind of disappeared into the void at one point, like it was pointing at like the ceiling or something. And I was like,
oh, did that also
on?
was it RIIZE like and NCT Dream that happened with? Because I remember, like, I thought it definitely also happened with NCT Dream, because I was like, this literally happened to them last year and the camera was just pointed at the ground or something for like a significant section of their performance.
Yeah, I think you said that about NCT Dream, so maybe it did happen with NCT Dream, but I know it happened with RIIZE.
Well, that's great. Somebody's sabotaging them.
But yeah, they had super rock and roll energy. And so that was really good. It did get a little overwhelming for me towards the end, and there were no Christmas elements. But I think that like it was a really good energy to have for the song that they were doing. So yeah, I think that they did a good job overall. And then at the MBC one, I think Sticky Like was a nice addition.
Oh yeah, it definitely was.
Now I'd like to introduce you guys to possibly something new for this next one. New as in, you know, I didn't know about this person and they're not K-pop. And then the other person involved is K-pop, but not anyone that we ever really listened to. We don't follow that group. I want to talk about YB. YB, the group, and the YB Seungmin from Stray Kids collab at it was the New Year's Eve one, the MBC GAYO.
Yes.
So yes, YB is apparently a famous Korean rock and roll group. And I don't know how long they have been around and how famous they are and how long they've been famous.
Didn't it say they were doing like their 30-year? Like, why do I feel like they were there because it was like some like anniversary big number? Like, I don't know. Maybe that's totally wrong.
No, I think that might be accurate. They definitely seem like absolute veterans of rock.
Yeah.
This was possibly not possibly. It was one of my favorite collabs. Possibly one of my favorite performances of all the GAYOs. I mean, we start with Stormborn.
Yeah, like just seeing that title, like, wow, powerful.
Yeah, I mean, it was giving Zeus the Guitar Lord.
Yeah.
And also Guitar Hero big time, but like just delivering so hard. The styling threw me off a little bit. Not what I would expect, but like it was really good. The fire, the dancers, you know, they were just like going for it. Like as a performance as a whole. The high note that he ended with was extreme. Like it was rock and roll. And so really good. Caught my attention. And then it starts the collab part where Seungmin comes out. And I have only heard Stray Kids basically from other GAYO performances. So they're doing their title tracks. They're doing their very, very, very like noise heavy genre. I don't know what their B-sides are like. I didn't know Stray Kids could sing like this though. This was such a good performance. I don't know what the second song is called because they...
Peppermint Candy.
Oh, right. Peppermint Candy. I was going to say, it was just written in Korean in the title and I didn't bother to like try and see what it was or anything. I was just like, oh, it's Korean for the other one, so I'll just... whatever. I forgot it was Peppermint Candy, which is so perfect. I love that YB has a song called Peppermint Candy.
And like doing it after a song called Stormborn.
Yes.
Iconic.
So good. And yeah, it was lovely. But it drives me insane because it sounds so much like some other song. I do not know what song it is.
So familiar.
It's some
we were
song...
trying so hard to think of what song it is.
Yeah, it's from the late 90s or early 2000s. If you guys know it, let us know. You got to go listen to YB Peppermint Candy. Like, I re-listened to it and immediately, again, I was like, oh my God, what is it? So there's something. But yeah, basically it was just so good. You know, their vocals were so good and the vibes were so good. And it was just really enjoyable.
Yeah, I totally agree. It literally is one of my favorite performances from the GAYOs that we watched. We watched every performance from the SBS and the NBC one, but we only watched...
I guess there were a few that maybe we like peeked at and we were like, we don't have to watch the rest of it.
Yeah, but like we were watching like the show. Like we weren't just like clicking the videos for those ones. But the KBS one we were kind of like picking and choosing. But so like we saw this one and we gave it a chance, and like I'm so glad that we did because literally it's one of the best ones in my opinion. It was just so good and really enjoyable.
Once again, another instance of like not a K-pop act, but like totally deserving its place being there.
Yeah. Okay, and now the last group that I have in the main bracket to talk about is ZB1, but I honestly don't have that much to say because, to be honest, I feel a little bit like something was missing this year for their performances. I always rely on them when I feel like other performances aren't really delivering. I'm like, oh, at least ZB1 is still going to be performing. But for the most part this year, I feel like it was just like any other music show stage. I was kind of thinking, why only one song? Or like for the most part, why just one song? Why mostly iconic? Like why did we kind of disregard Blue for the GAYOs? Why is the styling relatively basic? Like I don't know. And like there wasn't a super strong concept or anything like that. But I feel like they did a good enough job like usual, but creatively it wasn't anything fresh. And seeing as, you know, they're at the end of their contract time, I would have expected something more. However, the exception is obviously Star Eyes. I was so excited when I heard the first note because I never expected them to do this song in general, let alone at one of these festivals. So I do prefer the original arrangement, but it was such a pretty performance, and the kid orchestra, that was so precious.
Yeah, that was really cute.
Yeah. So it was a nice dreamy performance, and this felt like the moment that they should have been given for every year-end performance, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree basically with everything that you said. I mean, I really like Iconic, so
Yeah.
I feel like Iconic is one of their title tracks that I've liked the most, actually. A lot of the times I feel like their title tracks are maybe not my favorite, but so I would have loved to see them give it the caliber that they gave some of the previous year's things. But maybe because they like had a bigger award show performance at one of the award shows, maybe they were like, we don't have time to prepare that many big things. I don't know, but yeah, and the styling too, it seemed like it was in general pretty basic, but yeah, like they did a good job doing what they did, but it didn't have very much extra creative spins. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so that concludes the like main bulk of what we are reviewing today, but I do want to just shout out some other performances. I want to shout out Even, and I want to shout out Stacy, From Miss 9, and Lovelies, who are all at the KBS GAYO. I really love that Even was invited, but it really just felt like a music show stage. I wish they got to go to more of these festivals and they did something like Hot Mess or even Crown that could really show their liveliness, because they're so good at doing those types of fun, energetic stages. And, you know, Stacy, I like that they were incorporating the model concept a little, but it could have been taken further. And this is another one of those dramatic shifts. I don't really know why they did Teddy Bear, but I I really think it was cool that they did an old song. And Promise, I liked the styling. I thought it was a good way to incorporate Christmas vibes, but also stay true to the original vibe. And I thought it was fun how they got to do their own Christmas song. And they seemed just so happy and enthusiastic. And obviously, I thought it was really cool to see Lovelies performing at one of these again. And then the other festivals, I wanted to just shout out Kiki, because their I Do Me and I've XOXZ thing that they had to do, yeah, it was so seamless. Like, those songs fit surprisingly well together. And you know what, NCT Wish, their TT by Twice cover, I wish it was live. It would have made it even more energetic. But I thought the styling was really fun, very Wish core. Like, I like that they talked about that, like, when, like, you know, the hosting moment, like, mentioned Wish core, and it so was that. But I felt like they were giving more with this cover than their actual performances. But so I just felt like I should shout that out. And then you already talked about Beatpella House and YB. And so for the MBC one, I want to say that I liked the styling that T by T had.
Okay. I second everything that you said besides NCT Wish and T by T. Okay. Just because, like, I didn't have those things noted down. But the other stuff that I had noted down, like those other groups, you already, like, literally said. You said it.
Okay. Do you have any closing general comments about these festivals?
Yeah, I'd like to just say that overall, the GAYOs for this year seemed like they had a lot more live vocals. I feel like in the past I was seeing not very many groups doing live vocals. And also like at award shows, I feel like not very many people would do live vocals, but I feel like most people seemed like they had live vocals, or at least most of the ones that we watched. So that was impressive, but it seemed like there were less elaborate stages overall, which was kind of weird because I just didn't expect that. I thought that this, now was the time to like do something big like that. And I didn't see much of that. So like there's positives and negatives there. Also, it kind of felt like there was almost non-existent collabs because they would list something as a collab, but it wasn't a collab.
Yeah.
Like it was one person goes out and does something and then it changes and then somebody else is doing something. Like they were never together.
Yes.
They did not collab.
Okay, you brought up all of the points that I wanted to bring up. Like literally like a lot, if not most of the performances felt too music show stage, not elaborate enough. Like there was no big set moment really, and not very many strong concepts or stories being told. And even the holiday spirit in general was lacking.
Yeah.
Like nobody was like the New Year's basically like wasn't getting any New Year vibes from that.
Yeah, I think like one group said Happy New Year or something.
Yeah, I think it was NCT Dream, and they were like the last people, and I was like, oh, finally. But also, I feel like they spent far too long. Even if I enjoyed some of them, I still felt like they spent far too long on the rookies at the MBC GAYO. I was like, what is going on here?
Yeah, like hot take, but I would literally say I think that there were bad group choices across the board because the number of rookie groups that they had, and like I don't know what constitutes rookie, but I'd say anything that's like 1 or 2 years old, the number of like 1 or 2 year old groups that they had that in my opinion did not deliver, when in reality there are so many 1 to 2 year old groups that I can think of that could have delivered that were not invited.
Yeah.
I just don't understand why we were seeing the same groups over and over again at these things, that I was just like, that was, at the very least audibly, like I couldn't hear anything,
Yeah.
or like they were not going to sing live anyway. Whereas, like, I know if you invited this other group, they always sing live, so they definitely would have sung live. Like, I just. Yeah. So I think there were bad group choices made.
Yeah, same.
And for the older groups too, actually, like, if I think about groups that are established that weren't invited and that could have done a good job versus groups that are established and that are always invited, and then I'm always like, I don't really care about their performance.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. But across the board this year, it did seem like the audio was significantly better than last year, but at the same time there were those weird instances of we could barely hear some groups, or especially at like the New Year one, like the Christmas one, it was like the mics were so low some of the times just because I felt like either the groups were whispering or like, I don't know, like the mics were just set to a low volume. But the New Year one, I felt like the live band was kind of overpowering, and it seemed like there were some frequent technical difficulties. Yeah. Like it seemed like I could tell people were struggling with like the in-ear or whatnot.
Yeah, but I would say, like, just like you said, overall did seem like there was definitely better sound across the board on average overall, especially like not just compared to the previous year, but compared to the award shows that happened this year.
Yeah.
The 2 award shows that we watched, I don't remember which one specifically, because I think we watched like a mixture of at least 3 award shows. The audio in those things was like categorically insanely terrible. I feel like I was watching everything with my jaw on the ground for some of those, because I was like, how is this even possible that they've done this bad of a job at the audio.
Yeah.
And I didn't get that with these Gayos. I was like, oh, like, I can't really hear you guys right now for some of the parts.
Yeah.
But overall, it was much better.
Yeah. But like literally last year, terrible.
Terrible.
Yeah. So that concludes today's episode. Thank you so much for listening to what we had to say. If you enjoyed hearing our review on these performances, like the video wherever you're listening, and you can subscribe to the BlushCat channel and turn on notifications on YouTube, and leave us a comment. Let us know what your favorite 2025 K-pop GAYO Festival performances were.
And let's all just hope that next year the good things stay good and the bad things get good.
Yes. This has been Harvi
And me. Bye.
Meow 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 meow.